Okay, so today some of the concepts that we're going to be covering for the week, visual hierarchy. So something that is larger or that stands out more to you has more importance. The second concept we're going to look at is typography. We're just doing a brief intro into typography, specifically font. I want you to do the Ed Puzzle video and answer the questions just to kind of get an introduction to what typography is and how to apply it. We'll definitely hit more of that stuff later on, but just for this specific assignment, we're going to focus on font choice, and you'll see why in just a little bit. So let's start with a new design. We're going to do, same as before, 8.5 for our width, 11 for our height. Make sure to change pixels to inches, and then hit create. We're going to start by making a border or a frame. So the first thing we're going to do is click on our shape tool. We're going to make a large rectangle. And I'm not going to go all the way to the edge. I want a little bit of white to show. So I'll do about there, trying to make it somewhat even. All right, and I'm going to fill this with kind of a golden color. That's a little bit too bright for me. Something like that. All right, now I'm going to draw another shape. So I'm going to go back here and I'm drawing another rectangle. And what I'm trying to do is creating a border line. So I'm going to come in and make a slightly smaller rectangle on the inside and try to get a nice kind of space in between the two. Now, I'm going to merge these two things together. So I'm going to click on the rectangle I just made, and just for the sake of being able to see it better, I'm going to fill it with white. No, I'll fill it with gray so you can see a little better. All right, so I'm going to click on this inside rectangle I just made, hold down my shift key, and select the outside one as well. And you can see both of them have a blue line on them. I am then going to go over to modify, and I'm going to create a compound shape, and I'm going to subtract. So what's going to happen is the inside rectangle is going to subtract out, and you'll see now I have an open space on the inside and I have a nice border. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I am going to bring in a letter. So I'm going to go to my type or my text tool, and I'm going to put my letter in the middle here. And I want to do a letter L. Obviously, this letter is super small. I want it very, very large. So I'm going to come over here. The font size is 20 point. We can see what 72 looks like. Still way too small. I'm going to click over here. I'm going to do 200. Nope, still too small. Let's try 400. That's better. Let me see what 500 looks like. Okay, and I want to make sure it's centered, but I don't really like this font, so I'm going to choose a different font. So I'm going to click on the drop down arrow and try out some different fonts, see what I like and what I don't like. I think I want something more formal looking, so I want something that has serifs. And before you get to this project, do your Ed puzzle first. So if you're getting to this point and you're like, I don't even know what a serif is, what does that even mean? Go do your Ed puzzle and then come back to this one. Yeah, I like that. I think I'm gonna try to make it a little bit thicker. And I'm gonna see if I can go even larger. Let me see what 600 looks like. Kind of gets cut off. Try 550. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm okay with that. All right, so my next step in my project, and you're going to choose whatever letter you want, whatever font you want, and just try to make it large enough to fit in the middle. My next step is I'm going to bring over some objects. Now, the last project we had last week, you had to turn an object, a picture of a shoe, right, into a vector. So I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm not going to do a shoe this week. I'm going to choose something that I want to do. So and you'll choose whatever you like. So if you're really into basketball and you want to bring over like different basketballs over the outside and make them all vectors, you can do that. If you're really into nature, you can bring in some animals and turn those into vectors and put it around your letter. I'm going to save this as I'm talking, and I'm going to call it my letter project. And you can kind of see some of the other examples that I've done for other classes. So I'm going to save. And I think I'm going to bring in some plants like I did with that other example. So I'm going to go over here to the internet and I want to find a simple flower photo. And I'm going to choose a flower that I like. I want it to look realistic. I don't want it to be too cartoony. Choose this one. And I'm going to save the image. And just so I have it for reference, I'm going to do simple flower 1. And I'm going to save it to my desktop. You can also do the copy and paste and bring that over too. I'm then going to go to File, Import, Place Image. And I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to find my simple flower. There it is. Open. All right, so I'm going to make a vector out of this flower. So we've done this before. Go up to your pen tool, choose freehand. And I'm going to draw around each petal. And I'm going to fill it in. And if you look at this picture, it goes from pink to white in each petal. So I'm going to go to my fill. And I'm going to do something different than a color fill. I'm going to want to do a gradient. Let's see what a linear gradient looks like. I don't want black. I want to choose this pink color out here. So I used my eyedropper. I clicked on this where it was black. I used my eyedropper and chose my pink. Now you'll notice there's an outline. We don't want those outlines. So go back over here and go to border and make sure it's set to 0. All right, I'm going to go back up here, go to my freehand tool, and I'm going to do my next petal. So I'm going to start drawing, and I'm going to go around my petal, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come over here to fill. Now it looks like it already filled it the same way, but I'm going to, no, I think that's all right. I'll leave it there. That's fine. All right, now I'm going to go to my next one, and I'm going to draw around my petal. And I want it to be white on the inside kind of pink on the outside. All right, let's go to my next one. Freehand. I'm drawing around this petal. And I'm gonna go back to my fill here. And I want it to be the same, so I'm gonna bring it over here. And pink on the outside. Click on my pointer tool. And then I'm gonna go back to freehand and I'm gonna draw my last one. All right, and I'm gonna go to my pointer tool and I'm gonna change it so that it's kind of white over here. Nope, white on the inside, I lied. And pink out here. Okay, so let me click back on my pointer tool and I'm gonna go to my different paths and let's do the same process as we did before. So when you click on the path, double click and then rename it. So right bottom petal, pink flower. And this is bottom petal, pink flower. Left petal, pink flower. Up petal, pink flower. And we'll say top right petal, pink flower. And I'm just double clicking to name it. All right, so you know that this is your flower image. I'm gonna turn off the visibility. So I'm gonna click that. And now we can see all my individual petals. Now I see that I have some gaps in between here. I'm gonna get them closer together so that I don't have gaps. Just gonna move them in a little bit. Just so that they're a little bit closer. Okay. Alrighty. I think I'm okay with that. All right, so I want to make a copy of not each individual petal, but the whole flower. So I'm going to click over here on my layers palette, and you can see that top one is chosen, right, because it's grayed out. I'm going to hold down the shift key and click so that I have all of the petals selected at the same time. See how all the layers are gray here? Not my photo. I don't want the photo. I just want the different petals that I have made, okay? I am then going to go over here and I'm going to group them. So now you can see right here, it made a group with these individual layers on it. I'm going to call this group, double click it, pink flower. So now I know these are my individual petals. And if I ever want to go back and fix one of my petals, I can just go back up here and I can ungroup the items and then I can fix my petals, okay? You, again, do not have to do a flower. You can do whatever object you want to do, but I want you to still create some vector images along with your letter. So now I'm looking at my flower, and I don't have to redo this a million times. So I'm going to copy and paste it so that I have more than one. How's that going to let me see. Control C, Control V, and let me click on my pointer tool, and I should have a second one. Perfect. Control C, Control V. And now I have a third one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize them. Kind of move them around. And what you want to happen is you want some of your objects to be in front of your borderline and some of your objects to be behind your borderline. So the way to do that is to click on your object, and then we're going to go to Arrange, so Modify and Arrange, and Send to Back. And then you can see this flower has gone behind the border, right? Go back there. So this flower is behind the border, but this one is in front and this one is in front. So I'm going to move things around, kind of adjust things the way I like them. And I think I'm going to bring in one more flower. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to choose another flower that I like. Well, these tulips are kind of fun. So I'm going to save the image. And I'm going to call it flower. We do simple flower 2. That way I know what it's for. Save it to my desktop. And again, you can copy and paste it, bring it over whatever way works for you. All right, so let me bring in my other flower. So I'm going to do File, Import, Place Image, and I'm going to try to find my simple flower number 2. Open. All right, and already you can see it's right behind my letter. I don't want that to happen because I want to see it up front. So I'm going to arrange it, go to Modify and Arrange, and I'm going to bring it to the front. So if that ever happens where you can't see something, make sure you bring it to the front so you can. All right, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to create my individual petals, kind of like that are on these flowers. I think I like this one the best, so this is the one I'm going to focus on. All right, I'm going to go to my freehand tool, and I'm going to do this whole front shape because you can't really see the difference in this one between the individual petals. It just looks like a front shape and a back shape. So I'm going to go around this. All right, and that's not too bad. I'm going to kind of adjust my points just a little bit to make sure I have it the way I like it. All right, now let's go to playing around with the colors. So I want to see what this looks like so I can get a better better idea of the color. So I'm going to move it down. I've got yellows and oranges. So let's go here and try to find kind of a yellow color. Okay, and then let's do a gradient, not with black. I'm going to choose this red-orange color. That's not bad. I think it's more red over here, yellow like that. And I see that there's like a little bit of that orangey color over here. So I'm going to move this over a little bit and add one. Okay, obviously not black. I am going to add it as that color. So I've got, it comes from like a reddish orange color to a yellow to a reddish orange. So I just clicked on it and added one and then used my eyedropper tool to help me select it. Now I do not want the border. Make sure you go down here to border and turn it to 0. All right, so that's my front piece that I like. Should go like that. Now I'm going to do my back piece. So I'm going to go up here to my freehand tool. And I'm just going to try to trace around this back piece. That's kind of interesting how it filled it in. I think I might adjust it a little bit more. And add some more of this yellowish color. All right. And let's make sure there's no border. Great, no border. And I think I'm going to bring in my stem here too. That's pretty good. So let's go back over here, freehand tool, and I'm gonna draw as close as I can this stem. Not bad, but whoa, I do not want those colors at all. So let's go in and choose some greens. Okay, so I do not want all these other crazy colors. So I'm gonna click on this and hit delete. Hold on one second. Go back and change this because I don't want all of this extra stuff. Move these over. I really want it to be mostly green. Okay. The struggle to play around with this color here. All right, let's get some of this other color. Oh, that's closer. Much better. And we'll add some lighter areas to it. Yeah, that's not bad. I think I like it better. All green. So why don't we just go with that color? Yeah, let's keep it solid. All right. So now I'm going to kind of zoom out here. I want to make sure I label my paths. So this, double click, is my green stem for the orange flower. This one is the back of my orange flower. And this one is the front of my orange flower. I'm going to choose all of these before I do that. I'm going to get rid of my image. So my simple flower 2, I'm going to turn off the eye. So I just see my flower. And just so we can kind of see this in perspective, this is what it looks like kind of zoomed back. So I don't need to see that anymore, but I do want to group these layers because I'm going to make more tulips and I want to play around with them. So I'm going to click on my green stem, hold down Shift, and click my other layers at the same time. And then I'm going to go up and group them. Once it's grouped, I'm going to name it orange flower. All right, so now I have my orange flower. All of my pieces should be connected. See how I can move the whole thing together? I'm going to make more than one of these. So I'm going to do Control C, Control V. And when I am on my pointer tool, I should be able to move it. And now I have a second one. I can rotate it. So maybe I want it to be coming over here. I can make it bigger. Maybe I want the L to be in front. So I'll click on my L. I'll go to Modify and Arrange and bring to front. Now that flower is behind. Okay? So your end result with this, so the requirements for this project, you should have a border, whatever color you want. You should have a letter in the middle, very large, and you should have at least 5 vector objects behind it. It can be the same object 5 times, or it can be different objects that kind of relate to one another that you like, but these should all be their own vectors back here. And you can definitely do the copy and paste just like I did, right? So it's really up to you how you want to arrange things and adjust them to make it your own, but at least 5 vector objects around your letter. Okay, so this is your assignment for the week. I'll write all this out so you can see it on Google Classroom, but it would be due Friday. You can choose to fill things in with other colors, however you like to do it. Keep it school appropriate, obviously, but make sure you have your letter large in the middle, a border, and 5 vector objects. Okay? Along with your ed puzzle and your daily do nows, that's your assignments for the week. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and private message me or send me an email. I'll try to get back to you as quickly as I can. Okay.